Healing is not always a peaceful process. Sometimes it's messy, painful, and downright difficult. Just ask anyone who's ever broken a bone, had surgery, or battled a serious illness. The road to recovery is rarely smooth. There are setbacks, complications, and unexpected turns that can make the journey feel more like a roller coaster ride than a peaceful stroll in the park. Think about it. When we get hurt, whether physically or emotionally, our bodies and minds go into defense mode. It's a primal instinct to protect ourselves from further harm. But this can manifest in some pretty interesting ways. For example, when someone hurts us, we might lash out and say things we don't mean or do things we'll later regret. We might withdraw and isolate ourselves from those who care about us or become overly dependent on them. We might throw ourselves into work or other activities to avoid dealing with the pain head-on. These reactions are natural, but they're not always helpful when it comes to healing. So why is healing so hard? And what can we do to make the process smoother? First, let's talk about the different types of healing. There's physical healing, which is the repair of the body after an injury or illness. Emotional healing, which involves coming to terms with a difficult experience or loss. And spiritual healing, which can include finding meaning and purpose in difficult circumstances. All three types of healing are necessary for us to become whole and healthy individuals. But as mentioned earlier, the process isn't always a piece of cake. Physical healing can be challenging because it often involves pain, discomfort, and limitations on our mobility and daily activities. Think about recovering from a broken bone. Not only does it take time for the bone to heal, but you also have to deal with the pain of the injury, the discomfort of the healing process, and the frustration of not being able to do the things you love while your body mends. Emotional healing can be even more complicated because it deals with the intangible aspects of our being. Coming to terms with a difficult experience or loss can bring up a myriad of emotions, including grief, anger, shame, and guilt. These emotions are valid and necessary for the healing process, but they can also be overwhelming and all-consuming. Throw in some mental health conditions like PTSD, anxiety, or depression, and the journey to emotional healing can become even more fraught with obstacles. Spiritual healing is another essential component of the healing process. Finding meaning and purpose in difficult circumstances is crucial for our overall well-being. But this can be challenging, especially when we're struggling to understand why bad things happen to good people or when we feel disconnected from our faith or spirituality. Despite these challenges, it's important to remember that healing is possible. With patience, self-compassion, and the support of loved ones or professionals, we can work through the pain and trauma and emerge stronger and more resilient than ever before. While healing isn't always a peaceful process, it's a necessary one if we want to live full, meaningful lives. The journey to healing is a deeply personal one that requires patience, self-compassion, and the courage to face our pain and trauma head-on. But the rewards of healing are immeasurable. When we make the commitment to heal, we're not only improving our physical and mental health, but we're also enriching our lives with deeper meaning, stronger relationships, and a greater sense of purpose. It's important to remember that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to healing. What works for one person may not work for another. That's why it's so important to explore different healing modalities and find what works best for you. Whether it's therapy, journaling, art, music, meditation, or something else entirely. There are many paths to healing, and it's up to you to find the ones that resonate with you. Healing is not always a peaceful process, but it's a necessary one. By embracing the journey, we can move towards wholeness and create a life that we're excited to live. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. There are people who care about you and want to help. Reach out to them when you need support and don't be afraid to ask for help. You've got this.